Hello and welcome to this James Bike Guy, where today in this video we're checking out Trek's electric commuter bike, a bike that nearly doesn't even look like an electric bike. And in this video we're going to go into the features and designs of this electric commuter bike, and then we'll take it for a ride while I use it to commute to pick up a vehicle. So if this kind of thing's interesting to you, I suggest you stick by, hit subscribe, and let's check out the Trek FX Plus. All right, talking FX Plus. Now this FX Plus is Trek's entry into the commuter e-bike range. Now they've had for many years their Super Commuter, and then they had their Elant, and this bike that's in front of us here, the FX Plus, is a lower priced entry into the electric commuter market, as well as a lightweight entry. Now, one of the things just right off of the bat that I think is pretty cool about this bike is, to an unsuspecting eye, I think it'd be pretty dang difficult to determine that this is an e-bike when you would just be glancing at it. Now, of course, it is. You can tell because of that hub rear motor, and then there's a dead giveaway of the charging port here on the down tube. But the whole thing is pretty sleek and tucked away, where it looks almost like a regular bike. Now, one of the major benefits of that is this certainly isn't going to draw as much attention as some other e-bikes. It's also all integrated, so it's going to be much, much easier to be able to put this on a rack safely and even, not draw the attention of some bike thieves while you have it locked outside of your workplace or the train station. But also, because of the sleek integration of the bike, it does make it quite a bit lighter and really feels a bit more like a traditional bicycle would. Now, when we say it's lighter, this of course is not a specifically lightweight bike, but in a size medium, this bike is just a touch over 40 pounds, about 40 and a half pounds. And that's including the fenders that come on the bike, the rack, and even the integrated lights that you have, a front and rear integrated light on this bike. Now, the FX bike has been in Trek's lineup for a long time in an analog format, and this really takes that positioning and that feel to an electric version. So you can see on the front end, the handlebar is in a neutral to just slightly upright position. You've got a pretty modest reach to the front end, which means that you're going to be in a upright and comfortable position, which will allow you to kind of see over the traffic, see over the cars, be able to navigate through. But past that, you do have Trek's standard FX commuter seat. You've got an aluminum handlebar with these nice ergonomic lock-on grips. They've got a bolt underneath so that you're able to have them tight and they're not going to twist on you. And then the operation of this bike is much like a traditional one with a 1x system. So you have 1 through 9 speeds shifting through this Shimano Altus rear derailleur. The Altus rear derailleur runs on a cassette with your 9 speeds and then drives forward to a 1x crank. So that'll make it pretty easy. Just single side that you've got to shift, no front derailleur to worry about. And then slowing the bike down is operated via these Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. So here we've got a 2-piston caliper on the front and the rear that clamp down on 160 millimeter rotors. And it's also worth mentioning, on the fork, we've got what's called a through skew. So it's captured on one side, and then on the other side of the fork, you'll notice we do have a threaded skewer that's going through the frame. And on the back, the hub motor is mounted on with almost a similar system, except for in this case, it's a bolt on each side, but a little 5 millimeter Allen head that you can loosen up, which makes taking the rear wheel off much, much easier. This will be able to have both wheels taken off with a standard multi-tool that you might have to adjust everything else. Well, now let's talk about the motor and battery system. So first off, the motor is integrated into the... And now let's talk about the motor and battery system. So first off, the motor is in the back. It's a hub-based motor. This motor puts out 40 Newton meters of torque with 250 watts in back. The battery that's on this bike is integrated into the down tube. It's 250 watt hours worth of power. Now that 250 watt hour battery can operate that rear hub motor based on, average conditions, about 35 miles of total range. But Trek also sells a range extender that mounts in on the water bottle mount and then plugs into the charge port on the battery. And with that, you can double the range with another 250 watt hours and make this bike be able to go up to about 70 miles. And that range extender is about $500. And moving on to controlling the motor and battery system, right here on the handlebar, you've got this little controller set up. Press down in the center on the power button, and you're going to see it come to life with the left-hand side, these green lights. That's going to be the battery indicator. So that's telling you how much charge you have on. And in this case, we've got 5 bars. So that's full power, but each one of those is going to represent a reduction of about 20% of the battery. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see 3 more that aren't currently lit up. And as you press the thumb button to go up, that's going to add assistance. So you've got 3 levels of assistance, and then you can press down on it, and that'll take the assistance away. And you can ride this bike with the motor not assisting, so you're able to pedal it just like a normal bike, albeit slightly heavier, and then get your first level of assistance, which is basically going to feel like you've got just a little more power. Then medium level is going to have some pretty good oomph, and then up top with all 3 bars and full assistance, you'll feel like this bike is really just carrying you through. And it's important to mention that the pedal system and the electric system are all tied together. So this has both a torque sensor as well as a wheel speed sensor, so that it gives pretty immediate assistance and really augments in a way that it feels like you're riding the bike or like you're putting out that power yourself. It doesn't try to get out from underneath you, and it's also not laggy, which is something I'll talk about when we get into my riding impressions. Last things to mention, we'll start with the lights. You see how that keeps blinking? That's the refresh rate on the camera. They don't blink on the handlebar. They're solid in person. And then you'll see that we've got a integrated front light, which super nice to have and definitely nice and bright. This is a daytime visible light for sure. Out back, we'll have this rear light that's mounted up on our integrated rack, which is also carrying the fender set, both on the front and the rear. And it's really nice to see all of those things integrated together. Well, let's take it for a ride, and I'll let you know my thoughts. So riding this bike has been pretty enjoyable. Going through city center here on this rig has been just absolutely great. I'm about 10 miles into this ride, enjoying it down on power level 1. I've tried power level 2 and power level 1, and have found that it goes pretty good on 1, and then you can power up to 2 if you need to, and then the really steep hills, you can go up to 3 as well. Definitely enjoying the way this bike rides. It has plenty of power, and that sleek look looks just like you're riding a normal bike. I'm about 16 miles then, plus or minus, and I've come down to about 1 bar left. I took this bike out with about 50% battery life just over, so that is quite impressive. But what I'm going to test out here is, in just a minute, we're going to have to go up a pretty steep hill. I've already been going up a hill this entire time, but right here, punch it up to 3, and even on low battery, it's just cranking. So right up this hill, super steep here, enough power that one-handed, it's rolling up really no problem at all. All right, one other really neat thing to notice. So you see the flashing lights there, the red. That is solid in person, but that's your assist level. This green one, that is actually flashing right now. So that green is flashing, saying it's on the last bar, and it's pretty cool that it's showing a flashing light when we're at the very end. 16 miles total on this bike, and I started with just over 50% charge. And it's important to mention that this bike is what's classified in the US as a Class 1 e-bike, meaning that you do have to be pedaling to make it go. There is no throttle on the bike, so it's pedal assist only, augmenting, adding a bit of that power. And then it also has a top speed of 20 miles per hour.